Hey guys, welcome. In this video, let's talk about the ship weapon loadouts for the Idris-P and Idris-M. Now, let's start with the main gun for the Idris first. So in my previous video, I showcased that you can detach the main gun from the Idris-M and then upgrade your Idris-P with the Idris-M real gun. Now, a few viewers commented said, yes, you can detach the real gun from the Idris-M, but you cannot detach the laser from the Idris-P. And I have tested this. Indeed, you cannot detach the laser, even with the MPUV tractor. So only the Idris-M railgun as well as the Idris-T kit, the torpedo launcher, that you can detach and then duplicate them. But for the laser, you cannot. Now, talk about the laser. First thing I tested is the weapon capacitor for the laser. Doesn't matter which weapon I put on my Idris, even with full laser cannon or full laser repeaters. My laser capacitor, when we give full weapon power, it's always 60. You can see right here, 60. 60 means that you can fire this laser for 60 seconds, roughly. But the weapon pip does affect the laser capacitor. So if you reduce 2 pips, you still have 60 rounds. But if you reduce one more, the laser will go down to 56. And then give it about 60%, 48. 50%, you have only 40. And then only 4 pips, 32. 3 pips, 24. 2 pips, 16. And last pip, only 8. You can only fire the laser for 8 seconds. But 8 seconds, you can destroy a lot of ships, right? Second weapon, very important, is the top bow man turret. This will be different between the P and the M. In my previous video, many people asked this question. Can we put the Idris-M size 7, dual 7 laser cannon turret on the Idris-P? So as far as I tested, as far as we tried, there's no way you can put the Idris-M dual size 7 man turret on the Idris-P. So the best weapon for this main gun for the Idris-P is a dual size 5, whether laser cannons or laser repeaters, which we're going to be talking about that later. So hopefully that answers your question. Now let's talk about all the other weapons on the ship. We're going to start with the Idris-P. Both Idris-P and Idris-M, if you have fired any of these turrets, including the remote turret, you would have noticed that there is no gimbal mount on any of these weapons. None. Nothing. No gimbal at all. I think eventually we're gonna have gimbals, right? Because all other turrets that I checked, from the Carrack to the Hammerhead, any other turret will have a gimbal already installed on the turret. But for the Idris-P and Idris-M, no gimbals at all. And when I click any of these turrets, there is no option for me to equip the size 4 gimbal or the man turret. No option to equip the size 5 gimbal. So no gimbal mount can be equipped on any of these turrets. Now, next thing is a capacitor test. So I have tested with different type of weapon loadout. For the stock loadout, which including you are switching the top gun in the front with 2 size 5 Galderins. So with all the Galderins on the size 5 guns and with the Reverend Ballistic Gatling gun on all the remote turrets, with that weapon loadout, when give full power to weapon, every single man turret with the Galderins will have 70 rounds of capacitor. And 70 rounds of capacitor is really not a lot. So recently we had a turret capacitor buff for many ships. That does not include the Idris. The Hammerhead turret has 300 rounds. And the Polaris, the turret, has close to 300 rounds if you're using the laser repeaters. But for the Idris, it's not buffed. So I want to increase the weapon capacitor. I want to see how much we can do. That's why I changed the bottom 2 man turrets to deadbolts. So I changed these to ballistics. One on the port, one on the back. And also for the bottom aft turret. So I changed these 3 man turrets to deadbolts ballistics. and all the remote turret, also ballistic Gatling guns. With that loadout, my capacitor for my laser repeaters is increased to 75 rounds with full weapon to power. And 75 rounds is a maximum that we can go with unbuffed ships. Now, third test is I put everything to laser repeaters. All size 5 as Gaudrins, and I also changed all the Reverend Gatling guns, all the remote turret, to Rhinos as well. So every single weapon, laser repeaters. With that loadout, my capacitor is reduced to 53 rounds for each turret, including the remote turret, man turret, when giving full power to weapon. That's really not a lot of capacitor for a laser repeater, right? So after those tests, I tinkered more with different type of weapons, with different turrets, changed to different. It can get really complicated. So eventually I come up with a recommended weapon loadout for the Idris-P and Idris-M. Now, before I tell you exactly what my loadout is, something else very important we need to figure out. Because in your vehicle loadout manager, you see these turret numbers. Turret 13, turret 12, turret 14, from turret number 1 all the way, I think, to turret 14. You might not be using my recommended loadout. You might want to change to different weapons. You might want to put different turret with different guns. Now, how do you know which turret matches which gun on the ship? The numbers doesn't tell you anything. Now, a side note here. Thank you for those comments from those viewers that told me how to change this great thing right here. So you create a notepad file and type in depth of field equals to 0 and change it to config, and then verify your game file, which will change this to the actual ship that you can see. I did that, but I hate it. The reason is when you do that, the light is so bright, it really hurts my eyes, and I don't see that contrast with more black background. So I can see these things, these words, even though I cannot see exactly the paint for that, but with the flashing lights, I really don't like it. But I do know how to do it, and I really appreciate for those comments. Now, continue. How do we find out which turret match the gun on the ship? Let's do something really fun together. In order to figure out which turret on the ship matches the number on your mobiGlas, I have put different weapons on different turret, including the remote turret. So let's figure this out together. Let's start with the number 1. So the turret number 1 on your mobiGlas is the top bow main turret right here. Turret number 2, I put only 1 attrition. So this one will be the turret number 2, the top port middle turret. Turret number 3, I put 2 M7A. Looks like it's this one right here. So top middle starboard man turret is turret number 3. Turret number 5, I put 2 Omniski. It's right here. It's a bottom port turret. So 2 Omniskis. This is turret number 5. I believe turret number 6 is on the other side. Turret number 6, I put only 1 Gaudrins. I think it is this one. So turret number 6 is the starboard bottom turret. Right here. Turret number 7, AD5B. There we go. This is a turret number 7. Top starboard rear man turret. Turret number 7. Turret number 8, I put nothing. And right here. So top port rear turret. Turret number 9, I put 2 deadbolts. And turret number 9 will be the last turret. Is the bottom aft turret. Right here. So that's all the main turret. And their associated numbers on your mobiGlas. Now, turret number 10 will be 2 attritions. This will be the remote turret. So starboard bow, remote turret. This is turret number 10. Turret number 11, I put 2 deadbolts. I think it's this one right here. It's a remote turret. Nope, this is not. That's right here. So turret 11 is actually the bottom port aft remote turret. Turret 12, I put 2 Rhinos. There we go. Turret 12. port bow remote turret. Turret 14 is the last turret, and it will be the bottom starboard aft remote turret. So this one I put C788. This will be turret number 14 on your mobiGlas. So that's every single turret and their associated numbers on your mobiGlas on the ship. And with that knowledge in mind, it will be easier for you to change a loadout, play around with a loadout for your Idris-P. Now for the Idris-M, everything else is the same. The Idris-M just don't have the turret number 9, bottom aft turret. Let's take a look at the Idris-M loadout. Idris-M, you have turret 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 8, 2, 3, 1. Yes, exactly. You just don't have turret number 9 for the Idris-M. And for the Idris-P, every single turret number that matches the gun on the ship. Now, we know. Alright, so here is my recommended ship weapon loadout for the Idris-P as well as the Idris-M. And this loadout is mostly for PvEs. Now, number 1 is I do recommend you upgrade the main gun of the Idris-P with the real gun from the Idris-M. Even though the laser beam from the Idris-K kit is really powerful, especially it provides a continuous stream of DPS and very effective against bigger ships like other Idrises or Polarises, because the railgun has to charge every 20 seconds. However, there are many advantages of the railgun over the laser beam. First of all, the railgun alpha damage is a lot higher. It's also ballistics. It can penetrate through shield. It has 500 rounds. You can consider the railgun has infinite ammo. 500 rounds. You have to fire for almost 3 hours to finish every single round of it. However, if you are charging this railgun, it will consume 2 bullets. For example, I have 499 rounds. If I fire 1 round, now 498. First of all, I have to wait for 20 seconds for the cooldown. And then I have to charge it for 10 seconds in order to reach the highest damage. And the charge time is 10 seconds. There is no indication for the charge. So try to hear the sound. And if you overcharge it, it will simply stop like this. I did not fire any round. And it did not consume any round either. So let's charge again. There we go. Now fire. Now you can see I have 496 rounds, which means when you fully charge this railgun, it will consume 2 bullets. As soon as you fire this gun, it will go back to 20 seconds cooldown until you can fire again. So the firing rate is really slow compared with a laser beam, right? But the advantage is this gun's range is 10 kilometers. You can almost one-shot, sometimes even a hammerhead. But you can definitely one-shot anything smaller than a hammerhead. You can one-shot a Cogni. That's number 1. And for the rest of the ship weapons, I do recommend using attritions for PvE and the Galderins for PvP. All the manned turrets, change all of them to attritions except 3 of them. So there are 3 weapons at the bottom of the ship by the turret number 5, number 6, and number 9. So change them to ballistics. So I put deadbolts because the total damage is really high. Deadbolts 5 for the bottom port man turret, which is turret number 5, and turret number 6, and the bottom aft turret, turret number 9. So these 3 turrets, change them to deadbolt 5 or 85B if you wish. There are a few reasons for this. One is these angle of fire for these turrets are not as great as those top man turret. And you already have 5 man turrets on top. Even if you fully crew this Idris, I still do recommend, if you don't need to put people on the bottom turret, you can put those people into fighters inside your ship to do some fighter support. It's more useful than using the bottom turret. But in cases that you need to use the bottom turret, that you have a lot of rounds for these ballistics. And later on, CIG is going to improve the bullets for the ballistics, especially for the multi-crew ships. I think maybe next patch is coming, but very, very soon. So ballistics is going to take its glory back soon. I hope. Another advantage of the ballistics, it will save your weapon capacitor. So with this ballistics on those weapons, now my attrition capacitor for this loadout is 65 rounds will give full power to weapon. And the attritions hits very hard. 65 rounds you can fire for quite a while from each turret. Now for the 4 remote turret, 2 remote turret right here, by the number of 10 and 12, I put dual attrition 4. Only the front ones, the port and starboard. 2 attrition 4. For the bottom aft remote turret, port and starboard, I put deadbolt 4. More ballistics. The reason being is, on the bridge, for those remote turret, these 4 seats can control that remote turret, right? So you really just need 1 or 2 gunners here. That's it. And the gunners, if they take this seat or this seat, you will have the 2 attrition 4. You can fire continuously, laser weapon. You don't need to worry about reload. And you have pretty good angle in the front, and you can also cover these angle on the bottom and the rear of the ship right here. It's really good angle for this. And give it to weapon. Now, full power to weapon. I have 65 rounds. This is shared throughout the ship. So every single laser repeaters will have 65 rounds. You can fire for quite a long time with these attritions. But as we all know, the attritions is not good at PvP. If there's player fighters, light fighter, medium fighters flying around, it's gonna be really difficult to hit. So in that PvP situation, you want to change all these attritions to gatherings. You will have the same capacitor, but with less DPS. So the attritions deal the highest DPS. It's really good for PvE. Now, for the rare remote turret, you really don't need to put energy weapon. Just leave it be, because the angle for this is not great. So if your Idris is withdrawing from the combat, someone can just hop on this turret, shooting those ships that are chasing you from behind. With ballistics, you can give a lot of damage without taking their shields down. Especially, you have 2 size 5 deadbolts. You can directly fire in the rear. It's gonna do a lot of damage for whoever that chases you. So this is the Idris-P loadout. For the Idris-M, very simple. You don't have the bottom aft turret. Simply remove it. That's it. Everything else is the same. But for the Idris-M, you also have the dual size 5 M9A laser cannons. Make best use of that. That weapon is extremely powerful. So this is my recommendation for the weapon loadout for your Idris-M and Idris-P. Oh, last note regarding the PDCs. So right now I have 65 rounds capacitor for each of my laser repeaters, right? But I have found out if you unequipped some of the PDCs, you will give more weapon capacitor to your gun. So gives and takes.